Be like, you changed, man.
Yeah. No, it's just like, there's some people that you talk to all the time about everything, and then there's other people where it's like just oh, how are you? How are you? Oh, all right.
All right,
yeah.
bye.
5 minutes into hanging out, he spit on the ground and started talking about how the vaccine's just microchips, and Troy's like, yeah.
I've had to get rid of some friends because of that shit, man. That's ridiculous.
Did we want to get started at some point,
Well,
Justin?
yes, I didn't want to be rude. We were having fun little banter.
We're just going to keep burning through all of our banter.
Alright, are we ready? No, okay, I'll let you clap. Since you're a guest, you can clap. Alright, go. Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to episode 35 of the Nothing to Play podcast, a mediocre podcast about video games, movies, and disappointed fathers. As always, it's your boy, Justin Time Carter. This episode, we got a bunch of comic book stuff to talk. Not only did Falcon and the Winter Soldier end, but so did Invincible, as well as we got Mortal Kombat this last month. We got Godzilla vs. Kong. A lot of good nerd shit came out. So with me to talk about it all, I have returning guest of the podcast, Maddie Martin, and my boy Troy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's all I got. I don't know, man.
Alright, I mean, he used all the banter before we started recording, so...
That's the usual go-to here.
I mean, we go back to microchips, inside the vaccines, if that's what your readers want to hear,
Well, see, I figured we were going to start with, just like how Troy started the conversation on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He's like, I'm not racist, but...
I don't have a comeback to that.
I mean, in Troy's defense, Jess also was lukewarm about the amount of social justice that was pushed. And
Are we gonna go right into spoilers? Is that what we're doing? Or
well, yeah, I mean, it's over, so, yeah, spoilers for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If you haven't watched it yet, you can pause the podcast, play all 6 episodes, and then resume the podcast, because...
I mean, half of the listeners are already on the podcast. So.
And I know for a fact that they've watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so... That's not true. Some of them are in, Russia.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the Russian listeners, Guten Tag. If you didn't get to see Troy's face, it was very confused.
It's okay. It'll be the thumbnail.
Yeah, no, all in all, I thought it was great, but that last episode, and I loved it while I was watching it. No part of me was like, oh, fuck this show. But after everything was said and done, I'm like, bro, you're a little preachy. Just a little bit. I wonder if this would have happened if it wasn't for a lot of the things in the current news, the Black Lives Matter stuff. If they would have been able to get away with it being so preachy. I wonder how it's going to age, if I'm being honest.
I mean, in general, so as as we're now 2 Marvel shows down, with lukewarm finales on both. I think the finale for Falcon and the Winter Soldier is better than the finale for WandaVision, I think. But I think all in all, I think both shows are good in terms of they do a good job at building the characters, but I think sticking the landing on the overall plot and antagonist wise, I think they're both having issues.
Well, I'm not even 100% sure who the antagonist was for that show either, because it was Zemo, but Zemo stole the show and is a better dancer than Star-Lord. And then also you had the U.S. agents, but then in the end the U.S. agents and for no reason, you just, oh, you're fine killing that guy, no one cares as your suit's black now. And it's like, so then it was the Flat Smashers, but also you're supposed to be really sympathetic to the Flat Smashers because they're displaced people who were just trying to fight for their individuality or whatever. I don't know. Honestly, I never even got what their purpose
I
was.
fast forwarded through most of those.
Yeah, like
scenes,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still really not sure what their point was or what they were trying to achieve. So it's like, to me, the most important scenes were them talking about the symbolization of the shield, which obviously was like representing the flag and the American system. So it's like, where was the bad guy America the whole time?
The real bad guy was the friends we made along the way.
Yeah. I mean, that's usually the case. Most people just don't want to say it out loud.
Yeah.
I think Flag Smashers were supposed to be the antagonist, but then they were like, wait a minute, they're kind of like an actual sympathetic kind of antagonist, but they didn't really want to lean one way or the other. They didn't want to be like, oh yeah, no, they are the actual final antagonists of the show, or like make them sympathetic, because if they wanted to do the sympathetic route, they should have made John Walker like, he's the bad guy here. I mean, he is sympathetic in a way, but he chose to go about things in the wrong way, and that's why he's the antagonist, not that he himself is a bad person.
What almost seems like the antagonist was Sharon Harder then, I guess, which I didn't really love what they did with her. Like, I get it. You know, she puts her ass on the line. There's no shield anymore. The snap happens. Who knows how things were. Steve Rogers just, like, after making out with her, is like, peace out. I'm gonna go have babies with your aunt now. Fuck off. So I mean, I get her being upset and like being on the lam, but that didn't make sense as to why she's now the power broker. And like, I didn't even understand that like finale setup. Like, so she's just your common criminal bad guy where you just sell guns to bad guys or something. Like,
yeah, I think that a lot of her like story arc is kind of missing. Like if they were gonna go the, oh yeah, she's a double agent now, they really should have shown like how bad it was for her. And I mean, that's also my problem with like the Flag Smashers, is like you never really see what it was like for them during those 5 years, so you really don't get any background on either group or person to how they've ended up with this sort of mindset. And it's just like, it's a whole lot of telling and not a lot of showing, which you never want to do.
Yeah, they kind of just tacked the power broker shit on the end of the finale. Like, they were like, well, we never really resolved this storyline, so let's just kind of make it happen here in this fucking parking garage.
Yeah, and I thought
gets it a shootout and then just gets away.
I was saying that the whole time we were watching it, and like the one episode I think where there's like a shootout with Zemo and Falcon Winter Soldier and in like the shipping containers. Mm-hmm. There was like a hint like, oh, maybe she's actually a double agent or something. Like, that's when you started suspecting that her story wasn't completely true. But the payoff was pretty lame. It was just like, no, she's just more of a bad guy, I guess. Like, I thought maybe she was working for Nick Fury the whole time, who was reporting from space or something. Like, if there was ever going to be a Skrull like tie-in, this was the one it should have been at, not fucking WandaVision for no reason.
I mean, we can go. Let me get this one last thing about Falcon out, and then we can talk about Skrulls. But I actually did like how much symbolism and how much they really talked about what Steve's legacy is, how Falcon kind of deals with it, and then all the stuff with Bradley. I think that was probably my favorite stuff of the show. Like, I kind of inherently disagree with you and Jess a little bit. I do get that the season finale, especially the speech with Falcon, is a little preachy. But I do like that. Like, I don't know, he got his spot in the museum. I like that. I think that's a good thing.
What kind of sucks is, so I read the comics, the Nick Spencer run.
Yeah.
Remender sets it up so that he is the Falcon, and it's just Steve Rogers gives him the shield. I did eventually in the show enjoy that Steve Rogers was never given the shield; he earned it,
Yeah.
and so it wouldn't be the same if Sam Wilson was just given the shield. Like in some sort of way, he earned it through his own past.
Yeah.
An ice cream truck is going by my house right now, so I don't know if you're picking that up. But yeah, no. The thing though is. The ice cream truck has a heavy bass, all right?
Yeah, I was like, if you guys enjoy stuff like this, you can go listen to Comics Code Atrocity, where Troy talks about Falcon and the Winter
There
Soldier
actually
and
is an
ice cream
episode,
trucks drive by.
but and this did the episode before the show came out. But one thing I do want to point out is in the comic they bring up Sam Wilson's father, how he was killed in the street trying to like protect someone and instill like hero values into him. Also Sam Wilson's brother, who was a preacher, who was a criminal, like, you know, eventually went on the right path, and it would make more sense as to why, like, and even like there's a lot of dialogue between Sam Wilson's brother and him as he's like trying to figure out his place in all this. And I really wish they would have done that. It would have made more sense as to why he gives a speech at the end, because like the preacher in him would have, you know, done that, talking about his father dying for people, and like instead they shoved in this stupid ass boat metaphor that I still I'm not really sure what the resolution intent was for that, other than like, well, he wants to be a hero to his sister or something. I don't know. But it's like you cut away the awesome parts of his backstory to replace it with, well, black people can't get loans from banks. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, step away for a second from the preachiness and still develop the character. You know, you do both.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying. Like, I there's very regularly times where I'm like, man, it's not like it was done badly, but it was definitely done better in the source material, and I don't know why they just didn't just pull from that a little bit more heavy. I do like the Elijah Bradley stuff, though.
Yeah, that was a good inclusion. Yeah.
Yeah, and my one complaint still about Falcon's Captain America suit is I don't like the neck piece. I wish it was completely disconnected from like the shoulders to like his like normal little goggles.
Well, even so, Steph was watching it and she thought it looked terrible, and I was like, well, it's almost exactly what it is in the comic books, and she's like, yeah, but that's not real, you know, like when you do it in real life, it doesn't look as good, you know.
It's okay. It's every single Captain America outfit's been different every single movie, so it's okay. We'll just get a few revisions of it.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure the next time we see them, it'll be a different. They'll fix whatever they need to fix.
I personally loved it, but that's just I'm a fucking comic nerd and I don't.
Oh yeah, no, I was like, oh, that's so cool that they did that. But yeah, someone who didn't read the comic books is like, well, why the fuck did they? Like, he has weird bulky shoulder pads and stuff.
Dude, I love the photoshopped image of the shitty Captain America with the massive chest where it's like 12 inches like out.
the Liefeld art.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I will say this about Falcon. I was never a fan of Falcon in the comics, just because like I've never liked his power set. I've never seen how he can be particularly interesting as a superhero. But I love all the creative ways that they've used his wings in combat, and like all kinds of cool action scenes, and like using his wings that whenever him and Walker are fighting, and he uses his wings to like support him holding the shield up. It's so fucking cool.
So one more thing I do want to say is that we've been talking a lot about Falcon, and I think that a lot of people that I've talked to didn't like Winter Soldier in this because he basically had nothing to do. He was just a side hit. Like you call the show Falcon and Winter Soldier, but really Falcon was the main character.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier was other than the very start and end where he has some sort of like
character development.
Yeah, with the Agent Rampa. There really is. He's just there for immediate relief. And it's like, I'm fine with that, but then just don't call him don't call the show Winter Soldier if he really has nothing to do with it.
I like that they're at least the character development they did give Bucky was pretty satisfying, at least for me. I do think there were like a lot of the later episodes where it's like, yeah, he's just kind of there for being a support in the action of it. But I think he at least got some sort of arc where he kind of had some sort of acceptance, and then him being around Falcon helps like him kind of cope, I guess, or at least realize that like I don't know what thought I'm trying to have.
Well,
here.
even when he wasn't a supporting character for Sam Wilson, he was just a supporting character for Zemo, or he was a supporting character for the Black Panther ops. You know, like even like the one fight scene where the Black Panther hops out in the Demorjon, I don't remember what they're called. Like
Dormammu.
Yeah, I knew I was close. Dormammu, you know.
Yeah.
When they like turn off his arm on him, like, all right, that was funny, but it also made him look like a bitch. Like, what, you can't fight with one arm? You've never once tried that, you know? Like, I don't know.
I mean, really, I thought his main role was to be a father to Sam's sister's kids. Which is what they kind of set up for there at the end. Good old Uncle Buck's gonna come around and play catch with the kids.
Yeah, no, that was funny.
Speaking of scrolls, and I think we've said this every time we bring it up, I still have no idea. I know. I'm looping back around to it. How they're gonna do Secret Invasion, because it makes absolutely no goddamn sense.
The only way I can see it is they're gonna basically walk back what Skrulls currently are, and there will be some sort of Skrull on Skrull. Like, there's the good Skrulls and the bad Skrulls, and the bad Skrulls are the ones you gotta look out for.
It's some sort of like maybe like offshoot organization of them or something like that.
Well, they're like a slightly darker green.
Yeah. Well, what's stupid too is like what they did in the comics, and I haven't read it in a long time, but I remember like they off the bat take like a handful of really important characters and kidnap them, and then they replace them as Skrulls, and it's like Spider-Woman and Hawkeye and I don't remember who else, maybe even Tony Stark. Sorry, I'm like burping now.
I think it was Cap. I think Cap was one of them.
All right, I don't remember. I do remember the Skrull Queen was Spider-Woman, and that's the only one I remember. But yeah, they can't do that in this show. It's not even a fucking Avengers movie. It's just an off-brand TV show. So how is that gonna work? I don't know. Unless it's a setup, the only thing I want out of that show is that it's a setup for the Dark Avengers. Where, like Harry Osborn heals him, and then, or Norman Osborn heals the Spider Queen, and then it sets up Dark Avengers. But
they've been doing a hell of a lot of setup for Dark Avengers and Young Avengers, honestly. So
yeah, but I just don't see how it's gonna happen. Like for example, Armor Wars will have Rhodey and probably Riri Williams, right? You at WandaVision, it had Wanda, but the inclusion was at least one new character, which was Spectrum, right? If it's a TV show, like Loki will probably have at least one setup for a recurrent character of some kind. I don't see how the TV show is going to have several Avengers in it. You know, like I don't know what setup they could even get aside from like maybe one character.
I just want Dark Avengers though.
I agree. Did you see the Miss Marvel outfit?
I did. I didn't. What was that from? Was that just a leaked image or something?
Yeah, I think it was just a leaked set photo.
Yeah, no, I think it looks fine. And so where she's going to be in her own show first or in Captain Marvel first? All right.
No, in her own show. That's at the end of the year.
All right. So we have Loki and then Miss Marvel. Is there any other shows?
We got Loki.
Eternals.
We got Loki, What If, Hawkeye, and Miss Marvel.
Oh, yeah. And then for movies, you have the Eternals, Shang-Chi, which if you want to get into that trailer, I can't, as I was not a fan of that either.
Let's talk about it. What didn't Troy like about
Well, what
Shang-Chi?
I didn't like is there's no main white characters. All right.
Yeah, I mean, that was a given. Already, Troy's not going to give any money to the box office.
No. Honestly, what's funny is my girlfriend, who for the listeners is a Asian person. I'm just saying, just throwing it
Which
out
you know
there.
how
So I'm
difficult
very-
that makes it for Troy.
Yeah. No, she watched it separately from me, and we both had the same reaction where it was like very stereotypical, very like, all right, well this guy's Bruce Lee, and I know that the character in the helmet is Bruce Lee, which is why I've never liked Shang-Chi. Like, and then also, oh man, character is gonna disappoint his dad. Has to, his dad's gonna push him really hard, but he's not gonna live up to the expectations. Oh, the West where they party is bad, and loyalty and communism's good. Mandarin. And I was just like, like if there was ever gonna be a need for like some Marvel flair, this was it, and we just basically got a very standard, cut and dry Asian stereotype. That, to me at least.
Yeah, no. To me, it feels like if I watched that movie and it did not that trailer and it didn't have the Marvel logo and I didn't know Shang-Chi, like I would literally be like, "Is this just a kung fu movie?"
Yeah.
That's all this
And
is.
even I rewatched the trailer again. There's no like, if there was going to be a movie where I want badass fighting, this is what I expect. Like at least some John Wick level. Even Winter Soldier, the Winter Soldier movie that Captain America 2 had awesome fight scenes. This, at least from the teaser trailer, and yeah, it's just a teaser trailer, this didn't have like anything that really was a standout moment, like it, where he pulled some really cool, like when Black Panther in Civil War like does that triple hit, throw something like that into the trailer. There really isn't much. The only thing that is some hidden tighter crouching tighter hidden dragon, like, oh, I'm gonna jump on bamboo shoots and stuff like that, and like that's not, no one wants to see that anymore. No one wants to see slow motion lawn air jumps.
Yeah, the old school wire work kind of stuff.
Yeah, no one wants that anymore. So I don't know what that's doing in the movie.
I still think I'm probably gonna enjoy it. It's probably gonna be like mid-tier Marvel movie for me, but like I think also some of it is just I'm just really bitter that we're not getting an Iron Fist movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Justin, what do you think? Do you think that we should stop Asian hate?
I mean, to some degree.
Oh my god.
I mean, I thought the trailer was cool. That's kind of the thing that surprised me about the trailer was, like Matt said, if the Marvel logo hadn't come up in front of it, I would have never known it was a Marvel movie, which is what actually kind of excited me for it, in the sense that it seems like it's going to be different in that aspect, like, because a lot of the Marvel movies kind of follow the same formula and stuff, and it seems like, just, I mean, from the teaser trailer, it doesn't really seem like this movie's following that kind of typical Marvel formula. So I'm kind of excited to see what they do, and I know it'll probably be better once we have an actual trailer and not just the teaser trailer. But I don't know. I thought the train scene that they showed was cool, where he's doing like the double jump kick and stuff. Like
Oh,
it was
yeah,
very.
yeah.
I was like, dude, I wanted shit like that in a Mortal Iron Fist, and I never got it. So
One thing I am hopeful for is, because we'll get a real Mandarin, I want them to actually do the 10 rings. Like if they do the story legit, where it's like alien artifacts or some cool shit, and each ring has its own power, so that he could do a bunch of really cool shit that would be in parallel to like a Doctor Strange level fight.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really all I'm hoping for out of this movie now.
I'm hoping for that. Maybe some hints to Fing Fang Foom, and and I'm still holding out hope that the chick that is in the yellow and green in the trailer, where the Mandarin's fighting someone, like when that wire work scene is happening, I want to say that's the precursor to Danny Rand's Iron Fist. which would be really cool if that's the case.
That would be cool, and I think people would love it if they did include like a previous Iron Fist before Danny Rand. That actually, I didn't think about that. That would be pretty cool.
Because that's one of the things that I really like about the Iron Fist is it's not just one person who is it. It's like a series of people, and like that was one of the things I always liked about Matt Fraction's run is like,
dude, yeah. If they honestly, now that you're talking about this, I would love it if they did an Iron Fist TV show and it was an anthology form, and every episode was a previous Iron Fist. That would be awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why you gotta make me want things that I know I'll never have?
I was like, speaking of Matt, did you see there was a picture of Jeremy Briner, whatever the fuck his name, Hawkeye, and he's wearing the suit from the comics for the Hawkeye TV show?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, he's wearing the purple suit.
It's got the fucking arrow and everything.
It looks so good.
They are really going all out Matt Fraction TV like comic book for this show, and I'm here for it.
And when are we getting that? When's that
supposed to be at the end of the year?
I mean, I'm pretty excited for Loki. Like I did not think after coming off the high that was WandaVision, I was excited for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I didn't think I was gonna enjoy it as much as WandaVision, and I was actually really surprised like how much I was invested in it. So I'm pretty excited for Loki since that's gonna kind of be, I feel like, the middle ground between like street level stuff that Falcon Winter Soldier was doing, the really like far left weird shit that WandaVision was kind of exploring.
Yeah, I do feel. Sorry, I was gonna say that I do feel. Oh, I'm gonna talk now. All right.
Okay, go ahead, Troy. I was just gonna say, yeah, you were excited about the show.
Yeah.
What's
your white privilege, Troy?
You messed up not recording this as somehow where the sun is. I am so fucking white right now. I'm like blending in with the walls behind me. I'm pretty sure I'm a ghost. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm albino now. It's like I have like this line where the sun's coming through. Anyways, though, one thing that I really liked about Falcon Winter Soldier and WandaVision is it shows the fallout of the snap, like, and what has happened. And like for Falcon Winter Soldier, it was majority of the plot with the Flat Smasher stuff, and then with WandaVision, like the scene where Monica Rambeau wakes up in the hospital and all that stuff, and it shows what has happened with the military and stuff. What I'm hoping Loki does is show it on that cosmic level, like how when you snap half of it, beings out of existence, what does that have to do, like not just on a planetary scale, but I'm talking like that cosmic level, like bring in eternity, bring in like the living tribunal, bring in some really weird level shit that was like in Infinity Gauntlet, and maybe show us on that level what the events of Endgame did,
Yeah, you'd absolutely probably get some of that with Loki, with how crazy and far and out there it's gonna be. That'd be really awesome.
Dude, it'd be funny if he was like in space and then you just see like a silver surfboard just kind of just floating there, like.
Dude, that's why I want to start seeing some inclusions of those Fox properties. Like I actually almost would like to see Sunfire. I don't know if you guys know who Sunfire is. Chinese X-Men. Like, put him in Shang-Chi. Like, start just sprinkling these mutants into the franchise so that it's not weird when you have your first X-Men movie in 3-4 years.
What are you talking about? We got Manderpool. Isn't that good enough?
I was so upset actually with that. It's like, you didn't even have the Princess Bar. Like, come on, like have someone mention Patch. Like, you bring in Mandapore, but don't give us any of the reasons why we wanted to see Mandapore.
Yeah.
Fucking goddamn that show.
Yeah, and I mean we got Quicksilver in WandaVision, so.
I'm telling you right now, I still think Charlie Cox in Spider-Man 3 is just gonna be another boner joke.
Or Mephisto.
Mephisto. Yeah. I was waiting for the old Chinese man that Winter Soldier was befriending. That in the very end, he's Mephisto.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. I was like, speaking of other comic book stuff, Invincible.
Oh, it's been very good.
It's season 1 just ended. I have never read the comics, but I know these two boys have, and I wish I had. I know Matt read it back in college, and I saw like pictures of it and stuff, and I was like, he was all hyped on it. I didn't really understand. If I'd have known how violent it was, I would have read it.
That train scene is the most violent thing I've ever seen on
Yeah, so
TV.
spoilers for Invincible if you haven't watched or read or know anything about Invincible, but since season 1's done, we're gonna freely talk about all 8 episodes of it.
Yeah, I read Helmets also probably back around the same time. When they were ramping it up. So like, maybe like, yeah, 7 years ago.
Mhm.
And I basically binge read the first 100 issues all in like one weekend. So I don't remember every single, detail of every story and stuff, but I just remember it being the most utterly violent thing I've ever read or seen with my eyeballs.
I mean, it's accurate.
Yeah, no, I was like, I had to, when I was watching the finale with the train scene, I literally rewound it and rewatched the train scene again because that was some
What a
like,
fucking terrible human being you
well,
are.
dude, it's because it was that level of it's like some super fucked up shit. Like, it's like the reason you like the movie Brightburn and stuff is because it's like bad Superman and stuff. So it's like all the shit that like Superman would do if he was bad, and that's like what we got. Where it's like, dude, he's just like stood there and just held his face through the fucking train as he's just plowing through passengers and like splitting steel like across his son's face.
Well, so one thing that I love is probably explains better in the comics is you have tons of evil Superman. Like not just evil Superman in the DC universe, but you have tons of instances like The Boys, or like you said, Brightburn, like tons of instances of people with ultimate power turning evil because it would be so easy. But what I love about Invincible is that they basically take the whole story of Superman humming from another planet and stuff like that, and humming here to be peaceful and flipping that on its head, that his intent is that his species sent him there to honor the planet, and that he doesn't even want to do it. Like in the show, there's like a second where he sort of is like, oh fuck, I forgot I love my son, and he flies off. But in the show, it really, I mean, in the comic, I think it's more pressed upon that he really doesn't want to do this. But if he doesn't, they're gonna kill him and kill everyone anyways, and kill his son and his wife. So he sort of like it doesn't have a choice in the matter, and doesn't understand that he has a choice because communism metaphor. I don't know.
I mean, I think we're gonna get a lot more of like his motivations and stuff in season 2. So
yeah, I mean, so I love also the structure of it. See, Justin, you don't understand, but a lot of the stuff that they started, like the stuff with the Martians and Battle Beast, and even I think like, huh?
Alan,
Alan the alien, like a lot of those things were their own story arcs. Like after the first story arc, which is his father being a bad guy, they go down a lot of these other, each volume has its own story. And what I love about this show is it's starting all the less interesting story arcs that probably couldn't, all the stuff that probably couldn't hold its own as a season plot, and they're sprinkling those in so that we just get the badass ones. So I'm really excited for the future of this show because they'll just constantly be giving us like good content.
Yeah, Jess has never seen it, and Jess is a huge fan of violent 90s animation. So whenever she watched it, I just threw it on, and Jess was like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Oh, don't worry, it's really good." And then she got to the end, and she was like,
of the first episode? Yeah.
And then ever since then, she's been like, "Is Invincible out? Is Invincible out?" It's been good.
Yeah, I was the same with the first episode. I was watching it, and I remember Steph was actually asking me like, "Oh, is this that show? Is it as good as you were hyped for?" And I was like, I don't know. Like, yeah, it's okay, but I remember the show being like the comic being super violent. And I'm just sitting there watching the first episode, and then honestly, if that last part happened, if the last part didn't happen, I probably wouldn't have been watching it. Because I was
They
like,
knew
I was a
what they
little
were
like,
doing.
yeah, I was like, all right, whatever. This is just another superhero show, I guess, and the teenage drama relationship nonsense, like, all right, whatever. And then that last 10 minutes of the show, I was like, oh, yeah, all right, they're getting it right.
It just seeing it in motion is so much more brutal than I could have even imagined. I mean, it's been a long time since I've read the comics. For all I know, the comics could be that brutal, but I'm willing to bet they went all out.
Oh, they're really bad. I actually almost threw down like $200 after the finale to buy the 3 compendiums that complete the entire story, so that I could reread the whole thing. And I have a couple random issues I got signed from Ryan Otley, and I have a print of just when he's fighting Conquest, and like it's that double page. I don't know if you remember, but there's like a double page where there's just a bunch of like inch by inch frames of just completely disgusting, brutal fights like happening on this huge double page, overlaid with like a man ripping a spine out of somebody.
Long story short, Justin,
yeah.
You're not ready for all the twists and turns that are going to happen.
There was, for anyone who is listening, the 3 other people who are listening to this, there was a second in the finale of the show that had 3 Vertramites or whatever, and they are crucial in when you get to the Vertramite war that happens down the road, and they are like as savage as you thought Omni-Man was with the train scene. It's going to be so much worse. It's going to be so much worse.
Well, I'm excited for it. Like, I really liked the stuff with, like, Robot and stuff. I thought that stuff was pretty cool. And they, like, busted out those dudes and made them build them a body. And then he, like, double-crossed them. And they're like, oh, and they, like, blew up his, like, robot stuff. Like, what are you going to do now? And the entire truck was, like, Optimus fucking Prime. He's like, and they're like, oh, shit, as he's, like, blowing up their factory.
Yeah, I wonder where they're going to go with that. Has the whole robot stuff with Rex and everything, like, that's towards the end. That's like how they end it. So I'm really interested to see how they're gonna keep that going through multiple seasons when it's pretty obvious that like they're working towards that end game.
We're in the end game.
Yeah, I know. I feel like since that movie has come out, I've used that word 8,000% more than I would normally.
You try to work it into everyday conversation if you can.
And it's really easy, actually, it turns out.
Speaking of Endgame, on Twitter, there's every once in a while it just circulates, but it's that one video of somebody's theater, and it's just of that scene where everybody comes back and Cap's standing up against everyone, and then he says Avengers Assemble, and everyone goes fucking apeshit. Man, what a good time in the theater that was.
Yeah, I was actually just talking about how I miss movie theaters because of the experiences like that. And our Endgame experience was amazing because we had like the perfect audience that gasped every time we gasped and cheered every time that we cheered. Because that's not always the case. My brother actually went and saw Mortal Kombat. I'm doing the setways for you, Justin. And and he said it was terrible because the whole theater that he was in was just silent. And like he was the only one laughing, or he was the only one that was like, "Oh shit!" And it's like that can ruin your movie experience.
Well, yeah, especially whenever it's just supposed to be a fun movie like Mortal Kombat's supposed to be. I haven't watched it yet, but I hear it's fun.
It was really good. I watched it twice.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Oh, all right.
Yeah, I watched. Well, so me and Megan watched it the morning it came out. And then I went to my friend Joe's house, and like him and like his friends and stuff actually like play Mortal Kombat and are more versed in like the Mortal Kombat lore. So it was interesting in getting to kind of see their reactions on it, because like the lizard thing, I didn't even realize that was a fighter. I guess that was supposed to be Reptile. And like the one dude mains Reptile, and he was all sad. He's like they did me fucking dirty, bro. Like Reptile's like they made him a fucking lizard, man. Like, so
that is interesting
because it's like I know some of the characters, like of course the main ones like Scorpion and Sub-Zero and whatever, and then like but some of the other ones like Cabal and stuff, I had no idea who that was.
Man, if there was ever a useless piece of lore for you to hold on to, it's probably Mortal Kombat lore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
especially when I hear like in especially the last game or something, like the entire plot was like they do a bunch of shit and then time travel just kind of fucks it up anyway and nothing mattered at the end.
I didn't even play the last one, I guess, because they have like their children and stuff. But you tell, so like I know Mortal Kombat enough. Like I've played a good number of the games. So like Cabal, I actually love playing as Cabal. And there was a good amount of like characters that I knew. But also, it seems to me like this movie, and I liked it. I'm just gonna say off the bat, I did like it. It was 100% fanfare, though. It was just let's create a shitty plot for no like these dragon tattoos on people for no reason, just so that we can have a bunch of the main characters and they get their digivolved form, where Jax grows his arms and stuff. Like the plot was stupid, but it was 100% fanfare just so you could have the moves. Like Hun Lao, like fucking saw that lady in half and then say flawless victory.
Yeah.
He would never. That's so stupid. But I loved it. I was like, flawless victory. But
stuff like that. Like I like that they did that. Like with the face and like they had goddamn, what's his name? The dude who throws the fireballs and stuff. They had him like where he constantly.
Scorpion.
Yeah. No.
Luke Cage. Or Luke Hain. Whatever.
Yes, Luke Hain, where he's like sweeping the leg on Kano, and he's just constantly doing it.
He's just being a dick.
Video game, and then like Sub-Zero does like the ice copy clone and stuff.
That was awesome. Yeah. No. So what I thought was it was good enough for a sequel, but I also felt like they were planning on a sequel because there were a good number of characters that people knew, but even I've played a good chunk of the games, and most of the bad guys. Like the dude with the hammer and like the shit that flies around and stuff. Like, I don't know who any of those people are. Those are very weirdly specific off-brand. Yeah. So that way they could save some of their better characters, I think, for the sequel. As I mean, Sub-Zero's going to come back. Scorpion's going to come back. I think all the heroes are going to come back. Hano is not dead. Hano was the best part of the movie. So there's no way they're going to kill him off. He is like hands down what held that movie together. He was hilarious.
Well, and that's what I'm thinking is, what's his name? Johnny, whatever, that they kind of set up for at the end, that they're going to Hollywood to get him. I think he's going to kind of be the comedic relief for the second one. And from what I've heard, the fan casting for him, everyone wants Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think they can afford Ryan Reynolds.
First off,
my pick for my fan cast for him was Mac from It's Always Sunny.
That would be hilarious
because he's ripped at the end of It's Always Sunny. He's funny enough, and he's not super big, so he'd be relatively cheap.
Well, also you want someone who's dumb, as he's really stupid, and he doesn't understand what's going on half the time. He just happens to be really good at fighting.
But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it and stuff. And yeah, like you said, Kano pretty much carried the entire movie and stuff. A lot of his one-liners and stuff were fucking hilarious, and just him yelling at people.
Yeah.
Overall, it seems like it was better than Zilla versus Monkey.
I don't know about that.
I'm gonna say that I had more fun watching Mortal Kombat than I did Godzilla versus King Kong, because the opposite happened, where Mortal Kombat was purely fanfare, and there was a good amount of that in Godzilla versus King Kong, but Godzilla vs. King Kong tried to be a good movie, and I think it failed. It tried too hard to be like, we have a plot, and we have character development, and it's I don't give a fuck about that. I'm here to see a nuclear-powered T-Rex kill a giant monkey. I don't need to sit through fucking 45 minutes of finding out the Mighty Joe Young plot and going to the middle of Earth so that he can find out that his fucking monkey dad and monkey mom weren't here, and then he picks up an axe, and for no reason Godzilla apparently can just shoot a thing through the entire planet, and then
plot.
Plot. Yeah, and it's just bro, there's 3 fights in the entire movie, and it's a 2.5 hour long movie, I think they could have cut that down, get rid of a lot of the human shit, get it out of there. Just show me the fights.
No, I agree because, like, I mean, I haven't even watched Mortal Kombat, but from what it sounds like it knew exactly the type of movie it was gonna be. It's not bullshitting around. It's like this is a movie about fucking people just fighting and killing each other. It's like that's what people are coming here to watch.
But
Yeah,
what
for like in the end of Mortal Kombat, they almost like for no reason teleport a bunch of the characters to the locations that are in the game, like the fighting maps in the game, so that they can fight each other for plot reasons. You know,
except
like
for,
they knew what they
the
were doing.
one fucking little mobile home out in Utah or
Yeah,
whatever.
I was like, what the fuck is with this? But
I was
whatever.
like, that's my favorite map in the game.
I bet you it is. I bet you it is a map in the game. It's one of the ones we haven't played.
Unlike, I mean, me and Jess walked away from Godzilla versus Kong, and we were like, yeah, I don't know how this has this high of a Rotten Tomato score.
Yeah, I liked Hate of Monsters. That was the last one, right? I liked it a lot. Because I think that they had the right mix of humans and monsters fighting. There were a lot of fights, and the humans like were totally understandable, as in, well, what am I gonna fucking do? There's a giant pterodactyl and a fucking 3-headed monster the size of the Empire State Building. In this one, it was so unrealistic to me, at least. It was like, oh, the conspiracy theory story was so stupid. Like, oh, let's just hop on this train that's gonna go somewhere, and then we're gonna walk around where there's a Godzilla, and we'll have no consequences whatsoever for us doing this. I don't know. I didn't really care for a lot of that plot.
No, it was a lot of like them doing things for plot reasons to set up things that need to happen. It wasn't even like it was just a whole lot of Deus Ex. That's all it was. It was just them doing things.
Also,
Well,
they
it's
made
like-
them seem really small to me, and maybe that's just a personal perception thing. But like in the previous Godzilla movie, and in the previous, I even watched Han and Skull Island, and the Hate of Monsters. They made them, the way the movie was filmed, like made them seem larger than life. You know, you put them next to a building, and from the perspective of a human, like you see the neat hap of Godzilla, like so that you know how huge it is. In this one, every shot was like super far away, so
It's
that
all from
yes,
monster perspective.
yeah, so that the monsters seemed small, and then in every location was gigantic. Like every single location, like when Han was in that massive like throne room where the other gorillas apparently lived, like it just made him look tiny as fuck. Like these are supposed to be giant monsters, and you're telling me these two giant monsters can stand on a boat and the boat doesn't sink? I still have a problem with that, goddammit, alright?
Well, I'm hoping like eventually, like in the next one or like down the road, they'll bring back Mecha Godzilla, but he'll actually look more badass, and he'll be like Super Mecha Godzilla or something. He'll actually be stacked.
I don't know what they could even do. I don't know what the future of this franchise could even be, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I don't know either. Like, what other monsters are you bringing
Yeah,
in?
they kind of jumped the shark doing the Godzilla versus Han so early on.
Oh, you mean like Batman vs Superman?
Both
Yeah,
their moms were
alright.
named Martha.
The thing is, with Batman vs Superman, as
I'm
big of a
waiting
problem
for it.
as big as a problem as that movie was, you had Aquaman and Green Lantern and the Flash. You have these other heroes. The Monsterverse or whatever they're calling it. You tell me one fucking other monster that's in the Godzilla universe that's recognizable and marketable.
There isn't. I
Yeah.
know.
They have nothing they can do, and like the only direction they can go, aliens. The only path they can go now is aliens invade or something.
Hey guys, it's your boy, Justin Time Carter, from the Nothing to Play podcast, and I'm here to talk to you about a little ditty called Anchor. That's right. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free, It has creation tools that allow you to record and, that's right, edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Mind you, I don't use those tools, but I could. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other places where podcasts can be heard. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, which is good for me because I have like maybe 8 listeners. And there's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And that one place is the Anchor app or anchor.fm. And it's free to get started, and you download it. Just give it a download, and when you're done downloading it and you're making your podcast, you can listen to the Nothing to Play podcast, which is a mediocre podcast about video games, movies, and ad reads.
Well, that's enough about that movie.
I mean, it was still better than Wonder Woman 88.
Oh my god, I hated that movie so much. Didn't we
some
already
point-
do a whole episode about how bad that movie is?
At some
Yeah.
point, I'll watch it.
I'm not getting into it. All
I mean,
right.
I have good movies I need to watch. Like,
It's funny. I was watching Justice League, and it was so. I personally loved it. Right, the 4-hour long Zack Snyder cut. I don't know if either of you guys have watched it.
Not yet.
Neither of us have had the time to do that.
I mean, you could watch 1/4 of it while doing this podcast.
Yeah, I don't want to do what Tanner does and be like, oh yeah, you can totally episode it out, and everything I've heard about it is like, no, it does it a disservice if you try and do it that way.
There is a stopping point, I think, like 2.5 hours in, which is what a normal movie is. But at like 2.5 hours in, it like is a solid point to stop. So I would, if you wanted to, do it like as if they are back to back 2 movies.
Kind of
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, I watched the whole thing in one sitting, so I maybe don't have the best reference. But what I was gonna say is that movie, I liked it a lot and enjoyed it, and it made me almost forget that Wonder Woman 84 was a thing at all. Like, I don't consider that canon anymore.
Lucky.
I have no idea how you could go from, in my opinion, one of the best DC movies to where that movie is.
I will tell you, all right? It's
No,
fucking...
I know, it's
all right.
fine.
Tell us.
All right, here's what I'll say is Zack Snyder was very heavily involved in that first movie, and Patty Jenkins on multiple occasions and multiple interviews said that she really didn't have as much say as they marketed it. Like, it really wasn't her movie. Someone else had already made most of the movie, apparently, and then Zack Snyder was the glue to keep it all together, and then Patty Jenkins came in to do reshoots and stuff.
Huh.
So sort of Patty Jenkins was more the Josh Whedon, character. And then in the second one, the 84, she had absolute 100% control over the script and over like direction and stuff. And apparently she fought the executives multiple times to have some of the things in the movie. So anyone who loves Patty Jenkins, like, bro, that first movie almost shouldn't have her name on it. The second movie is 100% her dumpster fire. So anyone who's a Star Wars fan should be worried about that Alpha Flight movie or whatever. Alpha Squadron.
She's like, if I don't get this tasteful rape scene halfway in, I walk.
In some interview, she said that the reason it's set in the 80s is because she considers that the peak of Western civilization.
I'm really struggling. I guess you could say because Berlin Wall?
Well, I mean, I think that it's really nice for a woman director to idolize a time when Harvey Weinstein was just ripping through Hollywood. So I don't think that it was the best time period for female icons in the 80s.
Yeah, but you have to remember that he killed himself, so that righted all the wrongs.
Harvey Weinstein killed himself?
No, you're talking about other people.
Oh, one of the only other pedophiles in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only two, Troy. They run the racket.
Yeah, and Kevin Spacey. And Bryan Singer.
Yeah, but Kevin Spacey paid for it by House of Cards.
Speaking of Bryan Singer, wouldn't it be nice if we got some X-Men references somewhere?
Yeah, full circle.
So what else, Justin?
Are we ever gonna get Deadpool 3?
Yeah, apparently we are. Apparently, it will be Disney Plus exclusive though.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I heard. But
is there gonna be one of those where they push it for the premium?
Oh yeah, spend $30 to. I actually might spend the money on Black Widow, just because I'm so $30 is not a lot of money. I just didn't want to give that for Mulan, and I'm glad I didn't. And I'm not gonna do that for Cruella de Vil movie. But Black Widow maybe I will.
Yeah, Black Widow I probably will, just so I can watch it, because I mean it's been 3 years in the making or something. So, and I think it'll be either an average Marvel flick or it'll be an above average. I don't think it's gonna be something amazing.
I'm pretty sure there will also be setup material, and I think that's probably why we haven't seen a lot of marketing, other than the one trailer for Shang-Chi. We haven't seen a lot of marketing for the future of Marvel, and there's apparently 4 Marvel movies coming out this year. So I think that they've been holding off a lot of stuff because there's going to be some sort of setup for Black Widow, and they just haven't. So if there is something, I want to see it the weekend it comes out. I don't want to have it spoiled for me online. Oh man, Thanos is in it or something.
Doctor Doom shows up at the end.
Dude, I'm waiting for that intro too.
Dude,
honestly,
don't get my dick all
I
hard.
want it.
God, I just want Doctor Doom, man. I just want good Doctor Doom.
I remember hearing a while ago that Doctor Doom was going to be included in Black Panther 2. Yeah. And that would have been awesome, but now I have no fucking idea what Black Panther 2 is going to be at all.
So I heard a theory, which I think is entirely plausible because it's basically the setup for Doom War, which is Black Panther gets killed in a tidal wave that was allegedly caused by the Atlanteans. Namor's the cause. There's a whole war between them. Shuri can take up the mantle during this whole war, and in reality it's all Doom in the background who's set this all up. I think it's a completely plausible plot.
I 100% could see that happening. I 100%. And add in a little bit of Killmonger, bring him back. Boom, that's Black Panther 2 right there for you.
Dude, it was funny I remember on Twitter when people were talking about it, whether or not they were actually gonna recast Black Panther or have his sister take up the mantle and stuff. People were like, well, dude, just have her take up the mantle. And they're like, well, she can't do it because Black Panther marries Storm. And they're like, dude, she totally could still marry Storm. That is totally plausible.
Oh, that's some bullshit logic. I mean, I personally didn't like Shuri that much, but maybe it's because we didn't get a full character development. She just sort of seemed like I don't know the term, MacGuffin or something.
Character?
A hype man.
I don't know. I don't think either of those are correct. But she had no flaws. She was just she's a super genius, and she's funny. And she, and win any fight.
I think the comic book term you're looking for is Mary Sue.
Yeah. I remember that now. Yeah, I remember why I don't use that either. But yeah, no, that is what I was thinking of. But I mean, I just maybe we just haven't gotten maybe when you kill her brother, she'll be more of a fleshed out. As it's not even that she just could do everything. She just had no character at all. She was just a funny, smart person. It's all right. Even Iron Man was a funny, smart person, but he was also hated and had enemies, and
was deeply flawed.
Yeah, he
An
hated
alcoholic.
himself. He was like super, depressing. So like I don't know, and like same with what's his name, the Hulk. Super smart, but like also he fucking wants to heal himself repeatedly. If I can have Suri try to heal herself, then I'm fine with her being a superhero.
You guys heard it first. If Black Panther 2 doesn't open with Siri trying to kill herself, then Troy's not watching it.
Out of the theater.
Yeah.
I think actually I brought this up on one of the episodes of my podcast. I think that what will happen is because they still need a big star name, and even the actress that plays Suri, like I don't know if she has that kind of staying power. She's also like an anti-vaxxer Christian, so I don't think that like she's gonna have a lot of fan base in the real world either. I think they need to bring back Michael B. Jordan somehow, and I think what they'll do is they'll do some sort of like in the comics, doesn't when they heal T'Challa they bring him back, but Suri stays in charge of Wakanda, and then like Black Panther just sort of is like, all right, I'm Black Panther. I'm gonna live in the city of the dead because I'm like 1 foot in the grave. I think they'll do that with Killmonger instead, and maybe there'll be some sort of plot reason where it's like they only get one shot at it, and they accidentally get Michael B. Jordan or something, and so that way he can be the main character, he can be the Black Panther, and they can dual run the city or something.
Or, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, everything gets fucked up and Michael B. Jordan just is Black Panther still.
What if Multiverse of Madness is beating DC to the punch for a Flashpoint movie?
They're like, we're gonna New 52 the shit out of this.
Which is saying a lot, because the first Flash movie is gonna be Flashpoint.
Yeah, which is fucking so stupid. Like, just let him fight Captain Cold or something. Like,
Flash has the second best rogue gallery out of everyone in DC. And it's just like, why the fuck aren't you doing something with him? And why are you continuing to be like, yeah, no, there's only 2 storylines in all of DC, and it's The Dark Knight Returns and fucking Flashpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, I am excited. I love Zoom. I hope Zoom is good in that movie.
Oh, Reverse Flash or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, maybe if they focus on... But even that, he wasn't introduced in Flashpoint. Yeah. He was introduced previously. Just do Reverse Flash. From the future, comes back. Like, he doesn't... The first time you see him isn't when he tries to murder his mom. Like, give me that established character before you fucking start throwing this giant thing in. Which also, you're not going to have Cyborg in the movie anymore either. So is it just going to be basically a Batman movie with a Flash frame around it?
Yeah, it is. And I don't get it. So going back to the Batman vs. Superman, like, why are you doing all of these movies that rely on these established characters to have some sort of connection and, like, build-up of their character together, and you're just like, no, let's do the last movie of this.
Well, that's the thing, too. Batman vs. Superman was I think that Zack Snyder was either when he did, like, Watchmen and 300, because those are limited run, complete stories. Yeah. The problem with Batman vs. Superman was that he did Doomsday and Dark Knight Returns, and like I remember one time I like looked it up. It's like almost partly also the Injustice universe with the Nightmares. Like, he did like 5 established storylines in one movie, and it doesn't work that way. You can't just have 5 stories that are established in this multiverse like comics where it makes sense, and then just like mash them all together until they make sense in some sort of bullshit script plot. Which is also why I am very worried for Thor: Love and Thunder, as it seems like Taika Waititi's doing the same thing as he's doing the Jane Foster Thor and the God Butcher. And what else? Oh yeah, and he's also going to have Hercules and Zeus in there. And I think I read something else that sounded like it was another one of Thor's stories, like Beta Ray Bill's gonna be in it or something. It's like just do one story.
Well, yeah, and then you have all of the stuff with Valkyrie and her being head of Asgard, and you've got too much shit in one movie, and it's just like, why? Why are you?
And the Guardians of the Galaxy are gonna be in it, even
yeah.
if it's just shortly. They're still gonna have some. You're still taking away screen time for some other plot,
I don't know.
Well, I mean, at least, to fix Batman, he'll just get shot with a time bullet, and then it'll go back to Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Well, then that's Final Crisis. You're throwing in another damn story. Do the whole thing if you're gonna do it.
Fucking time bullets.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I just want a Court of Owls movie.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
I mean, you already got it. It's animated.
Oh, they did do an animated one?
Yeah.
No. I didn't know there was one.
Yeah, no, I haven't been keeping up with the animated movies, but I know they've been pretty consistently good.
They did do, so they had the animated Flashpoint movie, and then apparently every animated movie from that to Apocalypse War is, a cinematic universe, and it's actually amazing. I sat and watched them all once, and it's really good. After Apocalypse War, I have no idea what's happening anymore. They keep releasing tons of them. I see them on HBO Max all the time, but I have no idea what's going on, and it's there's no marketing for it or anything. It's just, oh, here's a new Batman movie. It's all right.
No, here's one with Constantine, or here's a new Justice League.
Yeah, a lot of them are kind of just weird one-off. The Constantine one was pretty good. But yeah, then there's the Justice League Dark or whatever, where it's vampire dude.
Yeah, they had also a Deathstroke movie, versus dragons. What? What is this? What is the context of this?
Dude, did you watch the Batman one where he goes back to it's feudal times?
Oh, Ninja Batman?
Yeah, with where Joker's a samurai warlord
I think they're just doing whatever the fuck they want, man.
Which is fine,
Yeah.
Fine by me. But also maybe make them good.
There's one of the animated movies that I really enjoy, and it's called Green Lantern Emerald Knights. And it's just an anthology story where it's just a bunch of Green Lantern stories. It's just different Green Lanterns talking about what they did as Green Lanterns, or legends in the Corps, or stuff like that. It's really cool.
That leads me to a great segue that we can now talk about the Yarner casting for the HBO Max Green Lantern TV show.
Everyone's favorite Green Lantern.
I fucking love Yarner. He's such a piece of shit.
You unironically like Guy Gardner.
Yes, he is the worst.
I mean,
I'd say I'm surprised, but I mean,
you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. Yeah, come on now. But I don't know what that means though. I didn't even know that this Green Lantern show was happening. So
I don't know what you could do with a TV show for Green Lantern. That needs to be
unless it's the same. What if it is Emerald Knights, where it's an anthology TV show? Each episode, you've asked somebody who's an off-brand Green Lantern. There's also in the comics ever since I think the end of the New 52, they've brought in 2 more Green Lanterns. One is a dude in a luchador mask, which I don't know anything about him. And another is actually, so they had a cool storyline with the Crime Syndicate.
Yeah.
And you know how Crime Syndicate had that other ring, the Green Lantern, but he was always afraid. This one chick, I don't remember her name, but something Ramirez. She put on the ring to save the day, and then the events of the comic, which was Forever Evil, finished, and then the Green Lantern Corps was like, well, you're not a real Green Lantern, but you have a ring, so I guess, give us that piece of shit. We'll give you a real one. You're a Green Lantern, even though you've, totally found a loophole in our rules. So now there are, 7 or 8 Earthling Green Lanterns.
Somehow there's been even more Earth Green Lanterns than there were.
Yeah, than any other Green Lantern, species at all. Is there supposed to be, 1 per section of
Sector.
space, but we get 7 of them all on Earth for some reason.
Man, I would just love to see Sinestro on screen. I love Sinestro so much.
Well, dude, that's what I'm like. I would think the show would be like season 1 would be leading up to where the end of it would like set up the formation of the Sinestro Corps.
Honestly, man, I almost say don't touch Sinestro. As you had him as Mark Strong in the Ryan Reynolds movie, I say go straight to Red Lanterns. Give me Atrocitus. Give me the Death Star hat. Go straight to Red Lanterns. Save Sinestro Corps for like season
Orange.
2 or something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, because yeah, that's what I would think. And then like season like 2, if they get like that far, like season like 2 or 3 could be like the like Green Lantern Wars or whatever, and then like they could end the entire thing with Blackest Night.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
It'd be hard to do Blackest Night unless you have other DC characters that have died, but I agree.
Well,
They can do
or
it, no
just
problem.
Even the formation of like the Black Lantern ring gets like made at the end or something to like set it up.
Yeah, every time I used to be like that, where it's like, even with the Flashpoint, I guess we're kind of being that way, where it's like, well, unless you have all these other characters, you can't do it properly. And I think Logan kind of proved that you could do it without any of the side characters and still do it pretty solid.
Or Civil War, for that matter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, as long as the people working on it have the right mindset, sure, go ahead.
As long as they
whatever.
don't try and directly adapt it without having all the characters.
Yeah, which the CW Flash does that all the time, and it's terrible. I stopped watching that show.
Well, yeah, we stopped watching, I'm pretty sure, after season 2.
Yeah.
After they basically set up in the show that he was going to go back in time and do, like, their own CW version of Flashpoint, I was like, yeah, I'm done.
You should still watch, they had a Crisis on Infinite Earths, like, events or whatever, where it's, you have it starts on Supergirl, it was the Flash, Arrow, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they also included, like, tons of multiple realities. Like, they had the voice who's the voice of Batman in like a bunch of the Bruce Timm Batman animated and stuff.
I want to say Michael Keaton, but
Kevin Conway.
Yeah,
Kevin Conway. Yeah, they had him in real life be the Batman from Kingdom Come. Or they had like a bunch of shit like that where they brought the Smallville TV show, like, was canon. They brought Swamp Thing in. They brought the Titans TV show in. Like, basically, because they unlocked the laws of multiverse, it wasn't just the CW shows. It was, like, tons of stuff,
That's really cool because, like, I like that DC's been doing more and more of that. Like the Robert Pattinson Batman movies and, like, Earth 2, and like they're really leaning into like, yeah, no, we're not going to get locked down to a one linear like canon. We're just going to do good stories, and that's all we need to do, which I think is a smart idea for how much like the DCU has just been kind of butchered. It's like there's no way they can actually fucking recover that thing.
The problem too is, like, if you are going to end the DCEU or whatever it's called, then end it. Don't say Superman and Batman are on, but also have a Wonder Woman 3 and an Aquaman 2.
Yeah.
Shazam they can probably get away with, as Shazam didn't actually interact with any other characters. They can just say he's been... But you had Wonder Woman on screen with these characters.
Yeah.
The events of Aquaman directly follow Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't have it both ways. Either say it's over or fix your fucking problem, Have a Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill, establish Supergirl or something, and then have Henry Cavill leave and go to another planet or something, and you never see him again, or fucking actually kill Ben Affleck's character, which they might do in Flashpoint, and then have a Dick Grayson Batman moving forward or something like that. I still had hopes that Robert Pattinson was actually going to be Terry McGinnis from Batman Beyond. Like, I was like, for the longest time, like, nah, he's still going to be a Batman Beyond movie. First trailer happens. I don't know. It still looks like it's a Batman Beyond movie.
It might still be Batman Beyond.
what they need to do is they do need to do a Man of Steel 2, and then Henry Duval or whatever like dies in a crash, and he's sitting at a cafe drinking coffee in his mustache, and then Alfred looks over at him, and they kind of do a nod to each other that he's still around.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I did see some fan casting for Hercules, and I think he could really pull it off as Hercules.
Yeah, I don't know how, if that's just fan casting, because I did see something that said he's in talks. Like, someone has contacted him, actually. But that would be extra hilarious if DC, throws Henry Cavill into the trash, and then Marvel's like, okay, fine, we'll take this guaranteed money maker, put him in our movie, and on top of that, we'll also ask Russell Crowe to be his dad again, just as a middle finger, fuck you. To the if anyone was gonna do it, Taika Waititi would do it.
Yeah. That's all I got on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, have you played Pokemon Snap?
No, I have not. No.
Do you have,
do you have a Switch?
I do have a Switch. I love the Pokemon Sword and Shield. I loved it a bunch actually, but no, I don't have. I didn't even know it came out until you guys were talking about it the other day, or that it was even a thing that was going to come out.
Yeah, me and Jess have been playing it nonstop since all weekend basically, and it's just it's nothing challenging, but it's just a fun, relaxing time taking pictures of Pokemon. So I mean,
yeah, if you were ever a fan of the N64 game, it's basically that but better.
Yeah, but way
Are you still
content.
Stuck on a track?
Yeah.
It's still a rail shooter, basically.
That was my least favorite part of it, because also Sword and Shield was so open, like you weren't stuck on the paths anymore. Like, if they could have had that where you're just in one of the wild areas and you just go around taking pictures, that would be really cool. But yeah,
maybe Pokemon Snap 3. Well, because I think the gap between the two. I mean, the first one came out on N64. And now we're on the Switch, and this is the first sequel. So I think with this sequel, they basically have proved that the want and the market are still there for it. So hopefully we'll get a third one then, where maybe they'll push for more, maybe not even open world, but less restrictive in the paths you can. Because this does have branching paths, though. There isn't just one set path that you take. You unlock alternate paths and stuff, so you get to explore other parts of the area that you're in and stuff that you didn't. So the replayability on a lot of the levels is actually a lot higher than in the previous game, because you unlock more as you play it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the market being there, but on the opposite end where people are dropping the ball, fucking Activision, man.
Oh, I heard that they're basically swallowing little hid studios and making them work on Call of Duty or something.
Yeah, they basically stripped the studios called Toys for Bob, and they did the Spyro remake and the new Crash games, and they were just like, hey, this studio that makes games that are for kids and everyone's really liking? Yeah, let's take all the developers and have them work on Call of Duty.
They're 3D platforming, no one fucking plays that. Come shoot stuff.
So, yeah, that was a thing, and I was pretty upset about that. But
I was like, well, it's fine, because come November, I'm sure 300 of their employees are going to get laid off anyway. So.
No, they all fucking quit. Apparently that's been happening for weeks. But industry drama.
Well, that's still sad.
Yeah, it is.
Because they should have.
Spyro totally has a market for it still. I've actually been going and playing because I don't have a PS5. Because it's fucking impossible to get one still. I've been going and playing. I have two friends of mine. They're like, "Oh man, you should play Returnal. It's awesome." So, all right, I'll get it in 7 years. But I've been playing old PS2 games actually. I just played Ratchet, or not Ratchet and Clank. Well, I did play those, but I also played the Jack and Dexter games. And I might play God of War 2. Like, oh, I don't know. It's fun playing those old games when you were a kid.
I wish I still had a PS2. Honestly, there are a lot of old PS2 games.
Do you have a PS4?
I do.
So there is this thing called PlayStation Now, which is like a way for you to stream old PS2 and PS3 games off of their market. It's like, I don't know, $12 a month or something, so it's not free. But you don't have to, like, you just say, hey, I want to play, the old Sly Hooper trilogy. You just boot it up.
And that would be great because I've never played through the Sly Cooper games.
Oh, they're also some of my favorite. And this is what upsets me about what you're telling me about this Crash Bandicoot Sly Hooper thing, is because there were 3 Sly Hooper games back in the PS2.
Yeah.
And then they made a 4th one. Same with, I think, Ratchet & Clank, they're still making new ones. I think they did the same for Crash Bandicoot. They made a new one. Why not, continue? Like, there's a way bigger market and probably way less effort to make a 4th or 5th installation to these games that we have these nostalgic attachments to.
Yeah.
Than we're on Call of Duty,
Like, you could put in so little effort on a Call of Duty game and people are still gonna fucking buy it.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, yeah, now that they have that one Warzone or whatever that's completely free, I don't even know.
It's infinite content.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't even know if they're actually going to release, like, new, like, console ones and stuff. Like, why would you when you have the free-to-play model that's working for you?
Yeah, they released Modern Warfare. Like, they did a Modern Warfare a couple of years ago, and that's when they introduced this Warzone Battle Royale, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they came out with Cold War, which I bought as I wanted to play Cold War game. I love killing Russians. And the thing is, once you finish the story, all it does is push war zones on you. And even apparently the plot in the Battle Royale is, it's like sort of the same as Fortnite. I don't know if either of you guys played Fortnite, where every season it has some sort of bullshit story that changes the map slightly, Yeah. Well, so the war zones basically adapted to the Call of Duty stuff. So it's what they'll probably do is they'll release these $60 discs just to probably get more people into playing Warzone, and then Warzone will adapt for these new games to convince people that they have to buy these $60 discs.
Yeah.
I was like,
self-sustaining economy.
Yeah, I was like, I pre-ordered
thanks, capitalism.
I pre-ordered Resident Evil 8 yesterday because that comes out Friday.
Oh, it does, for real?
Yeah, May 5th.
Oh, I didn't know that, because we just... I can't play scary games. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a pussy, I don't care. I can't play scary games. But we watched a whole playthrough start to finish of Resident Evil 7, and it was awesome. I loved it.
7's great.
Yeah, I liked it a lot more than... I did play some of the Resident Evils back in the day. I didn't know what the plot was, so I watched some video of the plot of Resident Evil 1 to 6 and all the offshoots for 3 hours to then start 7 and be like, none of this has anything to fucking do with anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Resident Evil, and that's probably what they should do, is who gives a shit? Just set up some plot, and it could just be a series of horror stories involving vampires or whatever.
Yeah, this one has vampires,
Yeah,
right,
this one takes place. This one's very much kind of like Van Helsing, weird town. There's werewolves. There's 10-foot vampire lady.
Yeah, everyone wants to fuck.
But so it seems...
Or get stepped on by.
Or both.
Yeah. That's honestly the only thing I know about 8 is all of the really gross fan art that's on Twitter for this 10-foot. Yeah. No, it's I saw something.
Yeah,
I saw something that was
drive cut.
I saw something that was the developers of Resident Evil confirm this chick has bigger feet than Shaq. And I was like, who was that for? Who needed that information?
Because, Troy, there's going to be a photo mode in the game.
Oh, my God.
With the new PlayStation Share, you can share feet pics with your friends. No matter where they live.
Oh, well.
I'm like, if Mama Vampire Goth Girlfriend can't make a foot pussy and I can't take a picture of it and shoot it to my friends, then I'm not paying $60 for this.
Ugh. I'm just gonna wait like a couple weeks. Someone will do the video online and then I'll watch it.
Yeah, but I'm excited. I know Chris Redfield's in it. I don't know because that's the thing is like 7 really had like nothing to do with the actual Resident Evil plot, and then now in 8 they showed that Chris Redfield's in it. So I'm like interested how.
But it
any
is
of this
a
tying in.
sequel to 7. It has the
Yeah.
same main character. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a successor to 7, so it does continue off of 7.
Which means I probably need to catch up on that at some point.
Dude, 7 was genuinely horrifying.
No, it was awesome. Is the thing too is the Resident Evil games. I think the reason I stopped playing them too is they weren't horror games. They're not.
They're just action games.
They're
after
action games.
4, they
They're
kinda like
they're like
deviated.
corporate espionage, like whatever government conspiracy, super sold. Like yeah, none of it has anything to do with horror anymore. So I thought the reboot was genius because yeah, 7 was legitimately terrifying. Like, and I wasn't even playing the game, and I was like, dude, we gotta pause this for a second. Like, we need to turn on the lights.
Yeah. So I was playing it in the dark in the living room, and Megan was like back in the bedroom, and I was playing it, and it's like towards the beginning of the game where you're walking through the house and you haven't actually seen anybody yet, and you're like walking, you have to go upstairs, and so you're walking down the hall to like turn to go up the stairs, and there's that like little nook thing that's like the doorway under the stairs, and as you walk past it, that's when the person grabs you and then cuts your hand off, and that scared the fucking shit. And I yelled, I was like, "Fuck!" And like that scared me. She comes running out. She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Dude, that scared the fucking shit out of me." She's like, "You scared the shit out of me." Like I thought somebody like broke into our fucking house, and I'm like yelling in the living room. Or when the dude just walks through the fucking wall, like you're like running down the hall away from like the dad, and he just boom, like through the wall.
Yeah, no, they're awesome. Or like the scene where the Hop shows up, and like I think you're talking to the Hop, and then just like half of his head gets sliced in front of you. Yeah.
Or when you meet the mom for the first time, where you're like sitting there and she's like skittering all over the fucking walls.
Oh my god,
like,
yeah, the mom like
outside.
turns into like an insect or something, and is like crawling up the walls and stuff.
6 bullets in your fucking gun, and I'm like, uh-oh. And I'm like, and she's you hear her, and you can't see her, and you're like, uh-oh. Like,
I actually loved the brother or whatever. Like, his level was the funnest because, like, well, first off, you have to do like the recording of the guy like in the Saw trapped room, you know, but like he had like EDM music going, and he was just like a college guy. I was like, you totally shift the fuck out of this game, and I love it. Like, I'm still scared, but apparently this dude's like a college frat bro, but also he was working for the FBI or something. I don't know. That was my favorite character, is he was like almost self-aware that he was in a ridiculous setting.
But yeah, so I've heard good things about Returnal too, but I've heard very mixed things about it.
Well, I heard it's basically a 3D Metroid game. Like, I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, I've heard it's more of like people I like from the articles and stuff I read. Like one person said it's more like Faster Than Light and Binding of Isaac than it is like Mass Effect.
Weird.
Where
well,
it's a roguelike.
Yeah, it is a roguelike, like Hades, you know.
Yeah. Like one of the boss fights I saw was like bullet hell.
Oh.
But what I heard, at least Ryan, I don't know if you guys remember him.
Yeah.
He bought it, and I was like, "Fuck you! I don't have a PS5." But he said like, yeah, it's you spawn and you're basically like this chick lands on a planet, and you're just exploring, and like there's some stuff that's like permanent, and there's some stuff that's temporary, but you're basically just exploring this weird planet. And I was like, that sounds exactly like Metroid. And the map unlocks as you explore, you know?
Cool.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, from what I heard, instead of items and stuff, I mean, you get weapons and stuff, but then instead of, like, items like in Binding of Isaac, they're basically parasites that give you different abilities, but it's like some are good, but they come with, like, a negative effect.
Huh. No, that sounds really cool. I've heard nothing but good things from everyone who I'm following on Twitter who's talked about it, so...
Yeah, the one bad thing I've heard is that I guess you can't stop in the middle of a run because some runs take hours.
Oh
So you
wow.
have to use the PlayStation sleep mode basically, like if you want to turn it off because you can't save in the middle of the run, you
No,
can't quit.
Oh.
that's not too bad.
But that is annoying. Like I know some people, I guess, like they had their game crash or something so then they lost all their progress because they
Oh.
couldn't
I mean,
save in.
I'm not like a roguelike expert or anything,
Mhm.
but I loved Hades. I thought it was fucking amazing.
I mean, everybody loved Hades.
Yeah,
So.
and it's like when you get to a point where you're just getting to the final boss battle every single run. Every run is like 40 minutes. You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't stopping in the middle of the run as if you try to do that and you aim back to it, you get healed immediately. Anyways,
Well, yeah, because
start
you don't
over.
have the muscle memory at that.
Yeah, exactly. You're like in this flow, like where your fucking eyes, you don't blink for ever, and it's insane. Yeah. So I mean, on one hand, yeah, it'd be cool to pause. On the other hand, it's like, dude, it doesn't matter when you come back to that game. You're probably gonna get fucking healed anyway. So sorry, bro.
Did you play Bug Snacks?
No, I didn't. I think you sent me like some of the images or something for it, and it looked pretty funny. It reminded me. Oh wait, so actually, did either of you play Outer Wilds?
I've heard nothing but good things about Outer Wild, and I hear it's amazing, and I haven't had a chance to play it.
Yeah. So the reason I brought it up is as the art is kind of similar looking to that butt snacks that you were talking about, but I loved. That was another game that yes, you can count it as roguelike. Every 22 minutes, the sun explodes, and you have to restart the cycle every time. But I loved it. It honestly, it was one of those games where when you beat it, like it stays with you. I think about the game all the time still. Like it was awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to give that one a try. I think that's on my list. Recently, I actually finally played What Remains of Edith Finch, and that was pretty good.
Oh yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, that's
Dude,
the
that
one
was
where
so,
you're in the
like
house.
the
Yeah.
shark like rolling around. I was like, this is so weird.
Though, What Remains of Edith Finch?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
the one where
favorite is
different animals.
my favorite is when you're the brother like chopping the fish.
Yeah.
So you have to like continually do the fish chopping move, like mechanics, and also do the daydream
The
mechanics
boat,
too.
yeah, like you're going down the river thing. And
Yeah, that was
transitioning into
yeah.
the
It's like
other ones.
slowly the daydream like takes over, and it's like, what the fuck's happening with this fish? Am I cutting off my hands? What's going on?
You just know something bad's gonna happen, but
Yeah, that's a fucked up game. That was
Yeah.
a super fucked up game. I think I finished it like alone. I think it was like we were snowed in, so I couldn't even leave if I wanted to, and I was all alone in the dark. And I finished, and I was like just so depressed.
Yeah.
yeah. So my experience with it has a similar situation. Jess was out drinking with friends, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just finish some games. And I'm like, What Remains of Edith Finch? I could probably finish that this weekend. So I was drinking and playing the game all by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was playing it one after because it just came out on like PlayStation Plus or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I heard like this is really good and that it's pretty short, so I could probably just finish it like a Saturday afternoon or something." And I was playing it. Megan was watching me play it. She's like, "Dude, what the fuck is going on?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know, but I want to find out." Like,
Well, I think after I played that, I downloaded some other games that I heard were similar, like that Firewatch style, which I still loved Firewatch.
I still haven't played Firewatch, but I do hear that's really good.
I mean, it is even less stuff to do than Edith Finch, as at least Edith Finch has like all these separate game mechanics for every character. But Firewatch is like just a giant mystery. Like you're just going around the forest, and it was really good. Like, anyways, so I downloaded Gone Home. I don't know if you guys have. Did you play it?
Yeah.
I thought it was the
incredibly old.
fucking worst game I've ever played. I was so pissed off that I spent money on that thing. It was like $10.
Well, see, I didn't buy it. It was free.
Even if you bought it with your time playing through that game, and maybe when it came out, so like Matt just said, it was really old. So I guess maybe it came out like before walking simulators were a thing.
It is the walking simulator.
Yeah, because it came out, I want to say, in like 2014 or something like that.
I just saw it was like at the top of everyone's walking simulator list, so I was like, all right, it's gotta be good. And the whole game, I'm sitting there waiting for something to happen. Like, to the point where it's like, I'm an hour in, 2 hours in, 3 hours in, I'm like, something's gonna happen. Someone's breaking into this house or something. Like, oh, am I gonna find my sister's body or something? And it's like, no, it just ends. Like, your sister ran away. You read a diary.
With her
like,
girlfriend.
Yeah, it's like she was ashamed of being a lesbian. I was like, maybe if I was a lesbian in the 90s, I would have loved this game. But I'm not here for it at all.
The other one that got a ton of awards at GDC was a game called Bat Dragon Cancer.
Oh, I've never heard that.
And it's another one in that kind of family of games. But to give you a little backstory on how sad it is, I haven't actually played it, but the game was made by the parents of a kid who had cancer, and their kid dies. So they made this game as a way of like dealing with their grief from their dead son.
And it's like their experience. You're basically kind of reliving, like in a fantasy sort of setting, their experience of knowing that they're slowly losing their son.
I have no desire to play this game. That sounds like terrible.
I don't have any desire to be that sad.
I don't want to know what it's like for my child today. I'll find that out myself, all right? I don't want to ruin the surprise.
I'd rather be a lesbian in the 90s than lose my son to
100%. Not even a question. There was another one that I played that I hated too. It was like The Vanishing of Ethan Hawke or something like that.
That's another one that's really old.
Yeah, and like the thing is, it's not even bad. Like it actually had puzzle solving mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no map, and there's no like real like direction as to where you're supposed to go or anything.
You have to have a lot of really good narrative direction to be able to carry that kind of a game.
You know which one you should play? The Beginner's Guide.
Oh man, Beginner's Guide gave me an existential crisis.
Yeah, Beginner's Guide's good. It's by the same dude who made the Stanley Parable.
I love the Stanley Parable. Yeah, that game was so good.
It's his follow-up game after that, which basically is a sort of walking simulator, but you do stuff, but like the narrative. There we go.
Yeah.
I was like trying to.
Well, that was like Stanley Parable too. Technically, is a walking simulator, but it's like there's
funny.
So much shit going on in that game.
Yeah, this one's not as funny, but the narrative is good for it though, and it is like interesting the places it goes.
Yeah, it's interesting as a creator looking at it.
Yeah,
and like it kind of gave me like I don't think I've ever had a game where I sat down after it and I'm like, huh.
Yeah, when you're done with it, you're kind of like. You're like, oh, man, I feel interesting about this.
All right. I mean, maybe I'll give it a try. It's probably very simple, like, graphics, too. Like, I'd probably play it on my computer, even though it's a piece of shit, right?
Yeah, you probably could.
Yeah, or even, like, go on YouTube, and you could probably watch, like, a 2-hour, like, walkthrough or whatever, because it's not super long.
Is it like Stanley Parable, where it's, like, there's choices and stuff like that? Like, I'd rather play it if I have some sort of... Like, Gone Home, I wish I would have watched that instead, because...
Yeah, I can't remember for...
I know you make, like, there's the one thing with the turning heads, where it's like, you do make selections, but I don't think it really changes the outcome of how it ends.
Yeah, it's more of a game about a lack of agency, and that's kind of the point. Whereas Stanley Parable is all about having agency over it and a player versus designer kind of thing.
All right.
The beginner's guide is about like.
Are you dead? Is it the beginner's guide of death or something?
No, it is all about a game creator and the expectations put on them.
All right.
Yeah. And it's like you're almost playing through a series of unfinished games, and it's kind of like why they're unfinished, but like the flaws that make them interesting as you're.
That's
playing
really
through
cool.
Them.
That's really cool, actually. All right, I'll probably give this a try.
What it's supposed to be is like the game. It's like found footage, this was my friend's game files, and I kind of put them together. That's like the whole kind of Blair Witch thing, like around it too. All
right. Yeah, I'll give that a try. All right. Well, I have to piss.
Well, that's fine. I need to.
Dude, that's as good an ending as we're probably gonna get. So.
Yeah. I've been holding it for a second here.
Yeah. So, if you want to record yourself pissing, I can add that at the end of the podcast if you want.